Hey guys, welcome back. So today I have a video about 10 sneaky GeoGuessr tips and tricks that might help improve your GeoGuessr gameplay. So this video is aimed at maybe not so much beginner players, but more players who have played the game a little bit and who know the basics, like which countries are covered by Street View, which countries drive on the left, on the right, and so on, things like that. Who might find it useful just to know 10 kind of sneaky snippets of information that might improve your score sometime. So, I did a very similar video before with 10 different tips and tricks, so this will be a very similar style video. I will put the link to that in the description below. But yeah, without further ado, let's begin. So, let's play the map. I created two maps for these tips. So, this is the first one. Okay, so the first tip I have is about the Slovak language. Now, the Slovak and the Czech language can appear very similar, but one thing that you can use to distinguish the two is the presence of the letter I, followed by a vowel. It tends to be in the Slovak language. If you see a combination like IA, IE, I think maybe IU as well, but IE is especially common, then that might be a sign that you are in Slovakia, as opposed to the Czech Republic. So obviously these combinations will appear in other languages as well, but if you're particularly deciding between these two countries, then an I followed by a vowel is usually in Slovakia. So like this Čierny with the IE, that's another example. So here we guess Slovakia, and Slovakia is correct. So on to the next tip. Okay, so this is about Hungary, and one thing I found in Hungary that you have this style light bulb in many Hungarian towns and cities. So this could be very helpful, especially if you're playing a quick battle royale game or something. You want to find a quick confirmation that you are in Hungary. If you look for this particular style of light bulb, then that is very common in Hungary. Now, it may exist in other countries as well, or very similar looking light bulbs, but this one I find is very, very common in Hungary. Also, there may be other styles that exist as well in Hungary, but this one is just very, very common. So this should be Hungary. So we guess Hungary here. And it is. So on to the next tip. So this tip is about Mexico. And you normally associate Mexico with yellow center lines, is very, very common in Mexico. But what you may not know is that you will occasionally find white center lines. I think I've seen both dashes and single white lines in Mexico. It is far, far, far less common than the yellow, but it does exist in Mexico, and it is very often very, very faded like this. It's not very sharp white, it's just a very, very faded white dashes. So yeah, I've seen it a lot. It might be all over the country, but I've seen it a lot, especially in central Mexico, like Guanajuato and places like that. So yeah, it's just a kind of baity bit of information to be aware of. This does happen in Mexico sometimes. So yeah, I guess Mexico here. And it is Mexico indeed, so on to the next round. Okay, so this is about New Zealand. Now this give way sign is a good way to distinguish Australia and New Zealand. In Australia, the text in the give way sign would be in black, but in New Zealand, the font is in red. So if you see a red font on a give way sign, then you are very, very likely to be in New Zealand as opposed to Australia. So this should be New Zealand, and it is. So on to the next round, and the final tip for this map. So this tip is a little bit meta. So this is called the kind of Lithuanian blur. Now something I found that can happen fairly often in Lithuania is you see these little random patches of blur just in random places all over. It's just a really random thing that for some reason happens in Lithuania. Like you have it on the car, just random tiny patches. Sometimes you get it on the trees as well. I don't know what happened and why it's very common in Lithuania, but be careful because I have seen random blur meta in other countries like Latvia as well, but this situation just seems very, very common in Lithuania, so it may be a good indication that you're in Lithuania if you see this. So let's go and guess Lithuania, and it is indeed correct. So that is the first round of tips, so let's go on to the second map. Okay, let's go. Okay, so the next tip I have is this bollard here. Now, this bollard belongs to Scotland. This is, in fact, Scotland. And it's something to be aware of because the bollards that you find in Scotland, like this one, appear very, very, very similar to the French bollards. So if you see very French-looking bollards, there is a slight chance that you may also be in Scotland. So I don't know if they exist in England as well. I've only seen them in Scotland. They may exist in England, not too sure, but also I think they often appear on T-junctions like this, not just in the middle of a straight road, but more in like random kind of T-intersections, things like that. So if you see kind of French-looking bollards, there may be a chance that you could be in Scotland, so it's just something to be aware of. So we get Scotland here, and it is Scotland, so on to the next tip. Okay, and this is another tip about Scotland, and that is the passing place signs. So this style of sign is something that I have seen very often in very remote parts of Scotland. Now, I've also seen this style in a diamond sign, but pretty much the same style, same font and everything, same black outline, I think, but in a diamond. That also happens in Scotland. And it is very common in very remote, small roads like this, in very like kind of the Highlands and some of the islands as well. I know I've seen it a lot in the Outer Hebrides. So yeah, these passing place signs, either rectangular or diamond, are probably a good indication that you are in Scotland. So yeah, let's go and guess Scotland here. And it is indeed Scotland. So on to the next tip. And this is a third tip. So here on this pole we have this little black kind of sticker, I guess it is. And if you see this sticker, then you are probably in mainland Malaysia. So this is something that you can use to distinguish mainland Malaysia, this part of Malaysia, from Malaysian Borneo. You will never see this sticker in Malaysian Borneo, only in mainland Malaysia. So if you see this kind of sticker, they do appear very, very frequently. Then you might be in mainland Malaysia. So let's guess mainland Malaysia. Okay, and it's correct. On to the next round, and the next tip. Okay, so the next tip I have for you is about the kind of language you get in New Zealand and Australia. So this kind of word, tuhoro, is a very Maori sounding word. So yeah, one thing I find New Zealand place names sound very, very different to Australian native place names. I mean native place names, not like the not English names like Christchurch, but if you see native place names like Wanaka or what do we have? Rotorua, Taupo, you'll quickly find out that the New Zealand place names sound very, very different to the Australian. I feel like, I don't know, the Maori language you have in New Zealand, they sound very, almost like, very cute kind of words, like Murupara is very, I don't know, very cute sounding words, almost kind of slightly Japanese looking. But Australian place names I find sound very different. You have a lot of like this Tungama with a lot of like NG and a lot of double R's, things like that. A lot of W's, Yarrawonga, like Wonga and I don't know, Wagga Wagga, double G's, a lot of W's. So yeah, it's something to be aware of. Just to pay attention to the differences in the sound of place names in Australia and New Zealand. That may help you distinguish the two countries. So this Tuhoro is a kind of Maori sounding name, so this should be New Zealand. And one thing I also have found, you do see Maori, so native New Zealand place names a little more frequently in the North Island. Now, not exclusively, like, of course, you have in the South Island as well, like Timaru, but I particularly see a lot in the North Island. So, yeah, this should be New Zealand. Yeah, so let's guess New Zealand, and we are indeed in New Zealand. So onto the final round. So this is the kind of sand you get in a particular area of Russia, which I call the Surgut sand. So yeah, if you see a very sandy, very Russian-looking environment that looks very kind of cold, then you may be around Surgut. I've seen a lot of sand kind of north of Surgut, maybe around here as well, a bit to the west. But yeah, if you see a lot of sand and you think you're in Russia, then that may be an indication that you are near Surgut. So basically, this vague general area. So we will guess somewhere near Surgut because of all the sand, usually to the north. So yeah, let's guess. And it is indeed near Surgut. So yeah, that was the final tip, and I hope these 10 random tips come in useful to you. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. If you enjoyed this, I have plenty more tips, so yeah, let me know if you'd like to see more similar content, and yeah, I'm happy to do yet another sequel on this type of video. So yeah, I hope you have a good day, evening, or night, or whatever, wherever you are, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.